famous portrait of the king was gilded and surrounded by red, the color symbolizing protection and strength. Continuing to the East Side Gallery, a visitor finds perhaps the most famous and revered of all the reliefs, the churning of the Sea of Milk. It depicts Vishnu and Devas, the benevolent Hindu gods, and the Asuras, the evil gods, all pulling on a great snake to churn the cosmic sea in search of eternal life. Their struggle released countless deities, including the beautiful nymphs called Apsaras. In the Northern Gallery is a battle of the gods and demons. This epic battle scene illustrates the pantheon of 21 Hindu gods battling alongside human warriors. Led by Vishnu, the gods of good defeat the evil gods. And as Suryavarman II was considered an earthly avatar of Vishnu, the scene celebrates his reign as well.
It could be said that the entire Temple of Angkor Wat is a single work of art. The artifacts and engraved scenes aren't simply ornaments installed in the temple, they're carved into the very structure itself. Once the enormous blocks were in place, artists chiseled symbols, figures, and deities into virtually every surface of the sandstone. All of this dazzling creation forged into one extraordinary and sacred sculpture. Now, of all the carvings, these are some of the most popular. They're called apsaras, or in English, celestial nymphs, supernatural women who are said to dance for the gods. They supposedly had the power to change their shapes or influence whether a gambler won or lost. But someone wasn't taking any chances. There are nearly 1,800 of them depicted all around the temple.
(1,796) full-body sculptures of divine women were carved at Angkor Wat. With a wide variety of facial features, hairstyles, and headdresses, no two are exactly alike. These temple guardians and dancers were probably based on actual women residing near the temple in the 12th century. Apsaras are everywhere you look in the temple, standing alone in meditation or sometimes in pairs or groups. Each pose of these dancers has a meaning, and together, the movements of the dance tell a story. It's a form of dance still very much alive in modern Cambodia. Called the Apsara dance, this art form has passed from generation to generation in an unbroken line from the time of Suryavarman II and before. According to Hindu mythology, the gods made 600 million apsaras when they created the universe, and these celestial nymphs were released to the world when the deities churned the cosmic sea of milk. The Temple of Angkor Wat probably had 3,000 or more apsara dancers assigned to it to entertain the king and his visitors as well as the gods. The Apsara dance almost died out in the 1970s during Cambodia's Khmer Rouge regime. Dancers at the time were targeted as intellectuals and elitists, and they were killed. Today, this ancient dance is once again a visible part of Cambodian culture. It has been recently revived by dancers studying Apsara carvings at Angkor Wat. Leaving behind the outer galleries, a visitor would next reach the second level of Angkor Wat. Here, columns border a cross-shaped gallery that mimics the layout of the temple's central level. These galleries lead the way to a large pool where the king and the Brahmins purify themselves before performing rituals to the gods. Here, lingering traces of colors that covered the surfaces suggest how the temple once looked. At the center of the cruciform gallery is a column which is colored in 5 layers of paint that alternates between white and red. First, they used red pigment on a white background. In the next generation, they painted using red pigment on a white background again. Although we don't know why, they finally covered everything in white, so it currently looks pink.
そういった5層の構造になっています。
Every trace of ancient residue adds clues to Angkor Wat's glory, as its royal patron once saw it. As in many Hindu temples, the 5 towers of Angkor Wat represent the 5 peaks of sacred Mount Meru, the residence of the gods in the ancient tradition. The highest tower soars as high as Notre Dame Cathedral. In all, 10 stairways lead to the central tower, a deviation from temples built earlier, such as the 11th century Bapwan. In the case of Bapwan, the 4 stairways on the 4 sides were added later on because of safety issues. The stairways were added in order to solve problems which arose during the construction of Bapwan. But in Angkor Wat, they were included in the plans from the very beginning of construction. As a result, a new and very special style of architecture was created. All the stairways except those in the central corridor are too steep to climb with ease. These features are thought to be a reminder that the path to enlightenment is not easy. The moat symbolizing the great cosmic sea encloses 500 acres of land where the Temple of Angkor Wat sits at its majestic center. Although it is now a Buddhist sanctuary, Angkor Wat was built as a Hindu temple honoring Vishnu, the Hindu god Suryavarman II was closely associated with. As impressive and inspiring as they are now, the towers were surely once even more so when their gold gleamed in the sun. Inside the highest tower was a central sanctuary where the king built a shrine to Vishnu. A golden statue of Vishnu reigned over the entire temple from this place of honor. Long after the reign of Suryavarman II, when the Khmer Empire became a Buddhist nation, the statue of Vishnu was replaced with the likeness of Buddha, which remains to this day. In the mid-12th century, when Suryavarman II visited his nearly completed masterpiece, he was nearing the end of his life and his reign.
Suryavarman II's rule is considered the golden age of the Khmer Empire, and Angkor Wat is the ultimate symbol of his dynasty. It's not known exactly when the king died. It was probably around the year 1150 AD, not long after the completion of the temple. What happened next is unclear, because there are no records for the period after his death. But what we do know is that it was a time of great turmoil. The next king reigned only briefly before war and discord began sapping the empire of its strength. Suryavarman had conquered his part of the world, expanded his empire, and successfully created one of the world's greatest monuments. But of all his achievements, only Angkor Wat would stand the test of time. The image of Angkor Wat has